Have you ever heard a phrase from a woman that left you uneasy, but you couldn't quite pinpoint why? Sometimes the words she uses carry hidden warnings, revealing deeper truths about her feelings and intentions that can catch you off guard if you're not paying attention. In today's video, we're diving into 5 critical phrases that signal psychological red flags. Phrases you should never ignore because they point to emotional danger and crossed boundaries. Inspired by the timeless wisdom of Carl Jung, this guide will help you spot these signs early, empowering you to protect your heart, dignity, and mental health. Especially if you're sick, you need to watch this video until the end, because understanding these warning signs could save you years of pain, regret, and lost confidence, helping you make informed, respectful decisions about your relationships and reclaim the freedom, joy, and peace you deserve in your golden year. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know so I can make a better video for you. Now, let's get started. Number 1. A warning of control. When a woman begins to express control over your choices, the first red flag in any relationship is the emergence of controlling behavior. When a woman begins to exert control over your choices, actions, or personal freedoms, it's not merely a preference for things to be done her way. It's a significant warning sign of an unhealthy power dynamic that can erode the foundation of a relationship. Control in its many forms is a subtle yet insidious force that can undermine your autonomy, self-esteem, and overall mental health, particularly for older adults who value their independence in their later years. Controlling behavior can manifest in various ways, often starting so subtly that it's easy to dismiss as harmless or even well-intentioned. For example, a partner might insist on deciding who you spend time with, what you wear, how you manage your finances, or even how you schedule your day. At first, these actions might appear as expressions of care or concern, perhaps framed as wanting to help you make better choices. However, the underlying message is far more concerning. Your independence is being challenged, and your ability to make decisions for yourself is being undermined. Consider the case of Harold, a 75-year-old retired engineer who experienced this dynamic firsthand. Initially, Harold's partner's behavior seemed benign. She would ask where he was going, who he was meeting, or why he made certain choices, presenting her inquiries as simple curiosity or concern for his well-being. Over time, however, her questions evolved into criticism and micromanagement. She began dictating his social interactions, criticizing his decisions in front of others, and questioning his judgment on even minor matters, such as how he organized his hobbies or spent his retirement savings. What began as subtle oversight escalated into a pattern of control that left Harold feeling powerless, isolated, and stripped of his confidence. Psychologically, being subjected to controlling behavior triggers stress responses in the brain, activating the same fight or flight mechanisms associated with physical threat. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, becomes hyperactive under constant scrutiny, releasing stress hormones like cortisol that can impair cognitive function and emotional regulation. Over time, this chronic stress can lead to a diminished sense of autonomy, lower self-esteem, and even symptoms of anxiety or depression. For older adults, this loss of control is particularly damaging. Research suggests that a lack of autonomy in later life can accelerate cognitive decline, increase vulnerability to mental health disorders, and even contribute to physical health issues, such as weakened immune function or cardiovascular strain. Beyond the psychological toll, controlling behavior often isolates you from your social support network. A controlling partner may discourage or outright prevent you from maintaining close ties with friends, family, or community groups, limiting your access to external perspectives and support. This isolation is dangerous because it reduces your ability to seek advice, share your experiences, or make decisions that align with your values and desire. For Harold, the turning point came when he recognized that his partner's behavior wasn't rooted in love or care, but in a desire for dominance and manipulation. This realization empowered him to set boundaries and reclaim his independence. But it required him to confront the uncomfortable truth that the relationship was no longer healthy. Recognizing the signs of control early is critical to protecting your emotional and mental well-being. If your partner frequently tries to dictate your actions, belittles your choices, or makes you feel guilty for asserting your independence, it's time to take a hard look at the relationship. Healthy love is built on mutual respect, trust, and the encouragement of personal growth. Control, by contrast, stifles your spirit, diminishes your worth, and restricts your ability to live authentically. As you navigate your 70s and beyond, your life should be defined by freedom, respect, and joy, not the constraints of a controlling partner. By understanding these warning signs, you empower yourself to make choices that honor your dignity and preserve your independence. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 2, a phrase of disrespect. The second warning sign to watch for in a relationship is disrespect. When a woman begins to speak to you with sarcasm, dismissive comments, or outright belittling remarks, it's more than just a momentary lapse in kindness or a reaction to a bad day. Disrespect is a clear signal that something deeper is amiss in the relationship, a crack in the foundation of trust, mutual regard, and emotional safety. Left unrest, this behavior can erode your self-worth, foster resentment, and transform what was once a loving connection into a source of pain and toxicity. Disrespect can take many forms, from subtle jabs, disguised as humor, to overt insults delivered in moments of frustration. For example, a partner might mock your opinions, interrupt you during conversations, or make derogatory comments about your age, appearance, or ability. While these behaviors may seem minor in isolation, their cumulative effect is profound, chipping away at your confidence and sense of self. Disrespect often serves as a tool for control or a reflection of unresolved issues within the relationship, such as unmet expectations or underlying unhappiness. Regardless of the cause, its impact on your mental and emotional health is undeniable. Take the story of George, a 72-year-old retired teacher who began noticing subtle shifts in how his partner communicated with him. At first, her remarks were framed as playful teasing, comments about his age, memory, or habits that George initially brushed off as harmless. Over time, however, the tone shifted. Her jokes became pointed insults, especially during disagreements, and she began dismissing his contributions to conversations or belittling his efforts in front of. George tried to convince himself that he was being overly sensitive, or that her behavior was a temporary response to stress. But as the disrespect persisted, he found himself withdrawing emotionally, dreading interactions with his partner, and questioning his value. Psychologically, being on the receiving end of disrespectful behavior creates a toxic environment that undermines your mental health. The brain begins to associate interactions with your partner with emotional pain, triggering a cycle of anxiety, self-doubt, and withdrawal. Neurologically, this dynamic activates the brain's stress response system, increasing cortisol levels and impairing areas like the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. Over time, this can lead to heightened anxiety, diminished self-esteem, and even symptoms of depression. For older adults who may already be navigating age-related challenges, such as retirement or health concerns, this emotional strain can exacerbate feelings of vulnerability and loneliness. Disrespect is often the first sign that a relationship is no longer a safe space for you to be your authentic self. It erodes the mutual respect that is essential for any healthy partnership, leaving both parties trapped in a cycle of bitterness and resentment. If caught early, addressing disrespectful behavior through open communication or setting boundaries can sometimes salvage the relationship. However, if the pattern persists, it's a clear indication that your emotional health is at risk. Respect in a relationship acts as a protective shield against loneliness, despair, and emotional hardship. Without it, the connection becomes a source of pain rather than support. To protect yourself, pay close attention to the tone, words, and intent behind your partner's communication. Are her remarks consistently dismissive or hurtful? Do they make you feel small or unworthy? George's story serves as a powerful reminder that ignoring disrespect only deepens the damage. By recognizing these warning signs and valuing your self-worth, you can make the courageous decision to set boundaries, or if necessary, walk away from a relationship that no longer serves you. Your emotional health is paramount, and you deserve a partner who uplifts and respects you. Number 3, the danger of constant criticism. The third and perhaps most corrosive warning sign in a relationship is constant criticism. When a woman frequently points out your faults, mocks your efforts, or dismisses your opinions, it creates an environment where negativity overshadows support, slowly eroding your sense of self-worth and confidence. Unlike constructive feedback, which aims to foster growth and collaboration, constant criticism is a relentless pattern of judgment that leaves you feeling inadequate and emotionally drained. For older adults, this dynamic is particularly harmful as it can exacerbate age-related vulnerabilities and undermine the peace and fulfillment that should define their later years. Constant criticism is more than just occasional disagreements or differences of opinion. It's a persistent pattern that targets your character, choices, or abilities. For example, a partner might criticize the way you dress, the hobbies you enjoy, or even your memory lapses, framing these as personal failings rather than neutral traits. Over time, this barrage of negativity can make you question your worth, stifle your individuality, and diminish your confidence in your ability to navigate life independently. Consider the story of Joe, a 78-year-old retired teacher who experienced the devastating effects of constant criticism. Initially, Joe's partner's comments seemed minor, small complaints about his appearance, the way he organized his day, or his occasional forgetfulness. Joe assumed these were isolated frustrations and tried to adapt to please his partner. However, the criticism escalated, becoming a near daily occurrence. No matter what Joe did, his partner found fault, whether it was his choice of activities, his interactions with friends, or his opinions on minor matters. Over time, Joe began to withdraw, sharing less of himself to avoid judgment. He stopped engaging in conversations, fearing ridicule, and felt his sense of identity slipping away. Psychologically, constant criticism activates the brain's threat system, flooding it with stress hormones like cortisol that impair cognitive function and emotional regulation. This chronic stress can lead to a range of mental health challenges, including anxiety, depression, and a diminished sense of self-worth. For older adults, the impact is even more pronounced. Research shows that chronic stress in later life can accelerate cognitive decline, exacerbate memory issues, and increase the risk of mental health disorder. The brain's plasticity, which allows it to adapt and grow, even older, is hindered by the constant negativity, making it harder to feel joy, motivation, or a sense of purpose. Beyond the emotional and psychological toll, constant criticism can have social consequences. When a partner consistently puts you down, it can influence how others perceive you, creating an environment where friends and family feel uncertain about how to offer support. This dynamic can lead to social isolation, a significant risk factor for older adults, as it reduces access to the community and resources that foster resilience and well-being. Joe's story illustrates how criticism, though subtle at first, can escalate into a force that undermines your identity and isolates you from those who matter most. Recognizing the difference between constructive feedback and destructive criticism is crucial. Constructive feedback is specific, solution-oriented, and delivered with respect, aiming to strengthen the relationship. Constant criticism, by contrast, is vague, personal, and designed to belittle, often accompanied by phrases like, "You always mess things up," or You can't do anything right. These statements are not about growth. They are about control and disrespect. If you notice this pattern in your relationship, it's a red flag that demands attention. Protecting yourself from constant criticism requires courage and self-awareness. Start by acknowledging the impact of your partner's words on your emotional health. Set clear boundaries about what kind of communication is acceptable, and be prepared to walk away if the behavior persists. Your golden years are a time to embrace peace, confidence, and self-respect, not to carry the weight of relentless negativity. By choosing relationships that celebrate your strengths and value your contributions, you reclaim your right to a life of dignity and joy. Guard your worth fiercely, and don't let anyone diminish the precious time you have in your later years. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 4. The cost of emotional withdrawal. When a woman utters the words, "I don't care anymore," it's far more than a fleeting expression of frustration. It's a piercing signal of emotional withdrawal, a profound disconnection that can erode the very foundation of a relationship. Emotional withdrawal is not just silence, indifference, or physical distance. It's a slow, insidious unraveling of the intimate bond that once held two people together. If left unrest, this detachment can become a chasm too wide to bridge, threatening the relationship's survival. This phrase often reflects a partner's surrender, a resignation from engaging, empathizing, or investing in the emotional health of the partnership. It's a declaration that the effort to maintain connection has been abandoned, leaving the other partner grappling with feelings of rejection and loneliness. Consider the story of George, a 74-year-old retiree who once shared a vibrant, communicative relationship with his partner. They used to talk for hours about their dreams, their daily experiences, and their plans for the future. Over time, however, George noticed subtle shifts. His partner stopped asking about his day, no longer showed curiosity about his thoughts, and responded to his attempts at connection with curt, dismissive replies. When she finally said, "I don't care anymore," during a heated moment, it felt like a dagger to George's heart. Those words weren't just a momentary lapse. They were a stark confirmation of a deeper emotional retreat that had been building over months, perhaps years. Emotionally, this kind of withdrawal creates a void where intimacy once. It erects an invisible barrier that blocks trust, vulnerability, and mutual understanding. For George, his partner's apathy left him feeling invisible, as though his presence no longer mattered in the relationship. This sense of being emotionally abandoned can trigger profound psychological effects, including feelings of rejection, diminished self-esteem, and heightened anxiety. For older adults who may already be navigating shrinking social circles, health challenges, or a sense of diminished purpose in retirement, this emotional loss can amplify feelings, isolation, and despair. The relationship, once a source of comfort and security, becomes a breeding ground for loneliness, even when both partners are physically present. From a psychological perspective, emotional withdrawal disrupts the fundamental need for connection that humans crave. According to attachment theory, secure relationships are built on mutual emotional support and responsiveness. When one partner withdraws, it destabilizes this foundation, leaving the other feeling unsafe and unsupported. For seniors who often rely heavily on their partner for emotional stability, as other relationships with colleagues, friends, or family may fade, this disconnection can be particularly devastating. It can exacerbate mental health challenges such as depression or anxiety, and even contribute to physical health declines as chronic emotional stress is linked to issues like high blood pressure, weakened immune function, and disrupted sleep pattern. The impact of emotional withdrawal extends beyond the individual to the dynamics of the relationship itself. Communication, once a bridge between partners, becomes transactional or superficial. Deep, meaningful conversations about hopes, fears,
or shared dreams give way to discussions about logistics, or worse, silence. Misunderstandings multiply as partners stop clarifying their intentions or feelings, and resentment furs quietly beneath the surface. Over time, the relationship shifts from a partnership of mutual care to two parallel lives coexisting under the same roof, each partner emotionally isolated despite their physical proximity. This detachment also reverberates in social contact. Friends and family often notice the strain, observing changes in one or both partners' demeanor, perhaps a lack of warmth, a forced smile, or a reluctance to engage. Some may express concern while others, sensing the tension, may distance themselves, further shrinking the couple's support network. For older adults who rely on social connections to maintain mental and emotional well-being, this ripple effect can intensify feelings of isolation, which research shows is a significant risk factor for cognitive decline and overall health deterioration in later years. George's experience illustrates how emotional withdrawal can creep into a relationship gradually, making it difficult to recognize until the damage feels insurmountable. When a partner's words signal apathy, it's a clarion call to pay attention. This isn't a fleeting phase or a minor disagreement. It's a symptom of a relationship in deep distress. Ignoring it risks further emotional harm, while addressing it requires courage, open communication, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truth. Choosing to walk away from a relationship marked by emotional withdrawal is not an admission of defeat, but a powerful act of self-preservation. No one, especially in the later stages of life, should feel unseen, unheard, or uncared for in their relationship. You deserve a partnership that radiates warmth, mutual respect, and genuine care, a connection that uplifts rather than diminishes your spirit. If you're finding this insight resonates with you, please leave a comment with the number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us continue creating content to inform, inspire, and empower you. Number 5. The danger of blame and resentment. When a woman says, "It's all your fault," the words carry a weight far heavier than a simple accusation. They signal a dangerous undercurrent of blame and resentment that has taken root in the relationship, threatening to erode trust, intimacy, and mutual respect. For seniors who have invested decades in building a life together, hearing this phrase can feel like a betrayal of the shared history and love that once defined their bond. It's a warning sign that the partnership is no longer a safe space for growth or healing, but a battleground where anger and disappointment dominate. Take the story of Harold, a 79-year-old man who believed he and his partner had weathered life storms together, raising children, navigating career changes, and facing the challenges of age. Yet, as health issues, financial pressures, and unresolved emotional tensions mounted, Harold began to hear the phrase, "It's all your fault," with increasing frequency during arguments. What began as occasional blame for small missteps, like forgetting an errand or making a financial decision, evolved into a broader narrative of dissatisfaction. For Harold, these words weren't just about specific incidents. They reflected a deep-seated resentment that chipped away at his confidence and left him questioning his worth in the relationship. From a psychological perspective, blame is a corrosive force in relationships. It shifts the focus from collaborative problem-solving to a defensive posture where each partner feels compelled to protect themselves rather than work toward mutual understanding. According to relationship experts, blame creates a cycle of negativity. One partner accuses, the other defends, and meaningful dialogue becomes nearly impossible. For older adults who may already be grappling with vulnerabilities, like declining health, reduced social engagement, or a sense of lost purpose. This dynamic can be particularly damaging. It undermines the emotional security that a healthy relationship provides, replacing it with feelings of inadequacy and rejection. Resentment, the silent partner of blame, compounds this toxicity. When unresolved grievances pile up, whether from unmet expectations, unaddressed conflicts, or perceived betrayals, they create an emotional weight that poisons interactions. For Harold, his partner's resentment wasn't just about the present. It seemed to stem from years of unvoiced frustrations, small slights that had snowballed into a narrative of blame. This dynamic didn't just strain their relationship. It spilled over into their broader social world. Friends and family began to notice the tension, awkward silences at gatherings, Harold's withdrawn demeanor, or his partner's sharp tone. Some offered support, but others, uncomfortable with the conflict, pulled away, leaving Harold and his partner increasingly isolated. This social isolation is particularly harmful for seniors, as research consistently shows that strong social connections are critical for mental and physical health in later years. Loneliness exacerbated by a fractured relationship is linked to higher risks of depression, cognitive decline, and even physical ailments like heart disease and weakened immune function. Chronic stress from persistent blame and resentment can elevate cortisol levels, contributing to issues like high blood pressure, insomnia, and a weakened ability to cope with life's challenges. For seniors, maintaining emotional balance is not just a matter of happiness. It's a cornerstone of overall well-being. Harold's story serves as a cautionary tale about the destructive power of blame and resentment. While disagreements are a natural part of any long-term relationship, a pattern of blaming one partner for the relationship struggles signals a deeper breakdown. It's a red flag that the partnership may no longer be a source of mutual support, but a source of harm. Recognizing this dynamic requires honesty and self-reflection, but it's a critical step toward protecting your emotional and mental health. Walking away from a relationship steeped in blame and resentment is not about giving up. It's about choosing dignity and self-respect. No one, especially after years of love and commitment, deserves to live under the weight of constant accusation or to feel diminished in their relationship. Moving on from such toxicity is an act of courage, opening the door to healthier connections, inner peace, and an opportunity to rediscover joy. It's a step toward reclaiming your sense of self and building a life filled with respect and care. As we wrap up this eye-opening conversation, we've uncovered 5 critical phrases that reveal psychological red flags in relationships: disrespect, control, constant criticism, emotional withdrawal, and blame. These aren't just words. They're warning signs that can protect your heart, mind, and spirit, especially in your later years. Recognizing these signals empowers you to choose relationships that uplift you with respect, kindness, and mutual support, allowing you to live with the freedom and joy you deserve. We'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today, and how do you plan to bring it into practice in your life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights inspire us and others. If you like this video, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to see you in the next video.